Um, it's a bunch of ROMs basically. That's it.
Hello and welcome to episode 6 of Pod Up. My name is Ollie and I'm joined as always by my friend Tibbs. Hello Tibbs.
Hello.
How you doing, mate?
I'm doing good. Yeah, not too bad. Yeah.
Cool.
It's been a bit busy, but it's all been good.
Yeah, me too. I've had a lot of work going on. I've had child problems kicking off this evening. So, by the way, listeners, if you hear a baby crying in the background of this episode, don't be alarmed. I'm not like keeping a stock of children that we're punishing in the background. It's just my little girl going through some sort of cold that my wife's looking after.
A stock of children.
A stock of children. Yeah, I don't know why I said a stock of children. It's clearly just one child, but you know.
Is that might be the collective noun for children? I don't know.
The collective noun of ill children, certainly. Yeah.
Cool.
Yeah, so that's life. Yeah.
So it sounds like you might have had your hands full. Have you been playing much since our last show? I mean, it's been a bit. I mean, I've had sort of. I don't like saying like real life stuff, but do you know what I mean? We've had sort of bits and pieces come up that sort of delayed the recording of this episode. We were going to try and record it last week, weren't we? But we got caught up with things and stuff got in the way. So
yeah, it's just life, really, isn't it?
I was going to say, I think just life's got in the way of a few things since the last recording. So I don't know if you've had much time to sort of sit down and play any games, or
I've had a bit. Yeah, I've got a fair bit more done on Chrono Trigger.
Cool. Yeah.
I think I'm about halfway through it now.
Bro.
Roughly. Yeah, it's a really good game. I really like it a lot. It's just nice and simple. Do you know what I mean? It's not comparing it to Xenoblade Chronicles, which I think I'm going to kind of give up on because I'm just not feeling it, to be honest. That game. It's just so complicated. The battle system, it was going all right for a while, and then it suddenly just threw everything at you, and I'm like, and just there's a battle going on. I have no idea what's going on. So, but in contrast to that, this is so nice and simple, and it doesn't have an intimidating amount of depth to it. I would say it's just that the battle system is really nice and simple. You've got various different moves, and you kind of I'm at the stage now where battles are getting quite complicated in the sense that you need to figure out a certain strategy to beat them. And that's getting quite fun actually. So yeah, it's a really good game. Enjoying it.
Yeah.
Otherwise, I've been playing. We've been playing Onrush.
Oh, that's a racing thing.
I've
not seen much about it. I saw lots of hype on Twitter about pre-order it now, this, that, and the other, but I didn't really get involved with the. They did like an open beta and stuff for it, didn't they?
I didn't really pay much attention to it when it was coming out. I just heard about it on a couple of podcasts, like two different podcasts really raved about it, and it's very reminiscent of like Burnout, which I loved back in the day. Burnout 3 was amazing. So it makes a point of saying it's not a racing game. It's got loads of cars and stuff in it, but you're racing around this kind of track. And it's not about who gets to the end. It's like there's loads and loads of cars and bikes all at the same time, and you're in a big team, and you've basically got to take down the other team in Burnout style. There's loads of different. I think there's different. I haven't played a lot of it yet, to be honest, but there's loads of different game modes and stuff. I've only counted two. Really, one of them is like. Get more boost points, which you can do by trashing other people. Another one is get through gates, as you know, and then it's sort of it collates the team points, and it's kind of like which team won overall in the end.
Is it like an online only thing, or is it single player?
No. I think the online is the popular mode. I'm just playing single player at the moment. Cool. Yeah, it's really good fun. It's just got that Burnout kind of manic smashing into stuff kind of fun, really. It struck a chord with me just looking at it, because you don't see a lot of those kind of games these days.
No, I mean, yeah, the Burnout series sort of fizzled out, really, didn't it?
It did. It had Paradise, which was remastered.
Paradise was a really good game as well. I really enjoyed that.
I didn't get into that one so much. I think it was the open world nature of it. I think I kind of preferred the more linear, here's an event kind of thing, rather than. But I do kind of get why some people like Paradise.
And then didn't they just do an EA Need for Speed that was basically just Burnout Paradise reskinned for Need for Speed, or did I imagine that?
I don't know.
And
then,
it all just sort of fizzled out from there, because it surprised me, because Paradise did really quite well, and you'd have thought that would have sort of carried on with another sequel, but
you would think so. It's a great formula. And yeah. But I mean, if you like Burnout, you should check out Onrush, because it is good so far. I haven't played that much into it, to be honest, but I would say, because the team mechanic, because there's so many other cars and stuff in there, I kind of felt like sometimes I was doing quite badly, but we still won. So because there's so many other cars in it, I kind of feel like, am I really contributing much to this? But early days, yep.
That's kind of how I feel when I'm playing Splatoon.
Yeah.
It's like, well, did I really contribute that much to that victory? I don't know if I did. I was just along for the ride, I think.
Yeah.
But that's awesome. Yeah, I'll probably check that out, to be honest, because that is.
I'd recommend it. Yeah, it's I think it's kind of dropping in price now. I picked it up
I don't know if I'd want to pay full retail for it. I don't know if I.
I only paid about 12 quid for it. I saw it on. I followed Post a Bargain on Twitter, and they tweeted that it was. The only difference is it's a French version, so it's the game is the same, but the back. Sometimes I order from Amazon, and I get the French version anyway of games for some reason.
Yeah.
So I thought, that's fine.
Yeah, I did that with Sonic Forces for the Switch. I got like a Spanish or a Brazilian one or something.
It's literally just the back of the box. Yeah. You don't even get manuals anymore these days, really. So,
no, you don't, do you? That's another thing we'll get on our soapbox about at some point, I'm sure. But
I do miss a good manual.
Oh, so do I. Yeah, so do I. But yeah, well, that's pretty good. That's a
the only other thing was Soul Calibur 6. They did. It's not quite out yet, I don't think, but they did a online playtest.
Oh yeah.
The other day, I only caught the end of it because I only found out it was going on the last sort of night. But I'm not even a PlayStation Plus subscriber, but I think anyone could play, so I got on there. And I really liked it. It's been a while since I played Soul Calibur. I played the first two. I really, really enjoyed those. And this one is kind of it looks like the first one, like the character designs and the roster on it and everything. So I really enjoyed that, actually.
Yeah, funny enough, I got a couple of faulty Dreamcasts that I'm working on at the moment, and I got one of the test discs I was working with was Soul Calibur to try and see if it was all working again, and but I couldn't get to boot because it doesn't like the VGA cable. It just moans. It says this game doesn't support the cable you're using. So it's like,
I found that when emulating it, actually, it still comes up with that message.
Yeah, I couldn't be fussed with all the faffing about. It would need to get it working, so I just played something else. But I saw it on the shelf. I was like, I've not played that for a long time. I sat down and played a bit of Soul Calibur, but
it's just a great button masher. And fighting games, I'm not very good at, as we'll find out later when we talk about the fighting game on the episode. But Soul Calibur is a great sort of real button masher. And I sort of won about half of the games, and I'm not very good, so it's a genuine sort of you're not going to get thrashed. You've got a good chance.
Yeah.
And it was kind of the same old, really. They had these sort of moments where the whole action sort of slowed down, went in slow motion, while your character did a special move. And sort of that was kind of automatic, but I'm sure there were certain occasions where someone was doing it to me, and it seemed like if my character was in the right position and doing the right thing, I could press a certain button and sort of counteract it and sort of block it. So that's quite a cool addition.
Yeah.
But yeah, I think I'm going to pick that up at some point.
Yeah, I'll
get
probably
back into
pick
the series.
Yeah, it's one of the like we said, I'm the same. I'm not sort of tremendously skilled at fighting games, but I do enjoy some of the games that really sort of scale their difficulty so you can enjoy it even if you're not very good at it. Things like Dead or Alive, Tekken, Soul Calibur, even if you're not great at fighting games, you can still get a lot of enjoyment out of them. So I always try and keep up with those series, really. So yeah, I'll check that out.
Yeah. I think that's about it for me, gameplay wise. How about you?
Not a great deal. I went back to Splatoon for a bit. I avoided it once because it started once the Switch was hacked. Splatoon's very easy to cheat on. There's no
really
at the time there was no anti-cheat sort of code in there at all. So there was people just ruining the game, really. Modifying weapons and
it's just ridiculous, isn't it? I mean, you kind of think, what's the point? So you're going to win easily. So what? What does that get you?
Yeah,
you know what I mean?
exactly.
Are you really having fun doing that?
No, that's what I mean. It's just so. It's so pointless. It's
so incredibly pointless.
Yeah. Especially a game like Splatoon is it's just a game about having fun anyway. It's not sort of super serious. I know some people do take it really competitive and serious, but I mean, the spirit of the game is just to have fun in there, really. So
of course it is. Yeah.
Yeah. So I steered away from it for a while, and I thought with the advent of Nintendo Switch Online, where you're going to have to, you now have to pay to use the online services, I thought that might have weeded out some of the some of the cheating. I thought people might be a bit more hesitant to cheat if there's actual money on the line if they get banned. So and to be fair, with the bits I did play, I didn't see any evidence of anyone messing about or being unsportsmanlike. So hopefully that will continue to stay the same. But
was there much cheating going on in the first one, the Wii U one?
People say there was, but I never experienced it.
No, I didn't. I haven't got Splatoon 2, but I played the first one a lot, and I don't recall experiencing much cheating. I mean, there were certain times where I just get slaughtered by everyone, but I didn't see anyone doing anything.
No, I didn't either, to be honest. And I got, I was quite late to the Wii U party, to be honest. I got it quite towards the end of its lifespan. And I was certainly playing it online after the Wii U had been, hacked and things like that. So, but maybe I was just lucky with it. Maybe that the times I played, or I don't know. Maybe, like I say, maybe I was just lucky. But I didn't witness much, if anything, in the way of cheating. I can't remember any specific instances, but apparently it was rampant towards the end of the Wii U's life. So.
Right.
Yeah, it's a shame. I'm just surprised Nintendo didn't think to put any anti-cheat mechanisms in there. If it's as simple as just edit, because it seems to be the case. It's just as simple as editing a save file. Everything is all the weapon stats and your character stats are all just saved on the save file. So if you modify that, there's no checks done by the game or the server to make sure that key files haven't been modified or anything. It's just I don't know. It just seems a bit of an oversight. But yeah, so I played that for a bit. That was quite good fun. I played it's not like a new release or anything, but Tanglewood. Have you?
Oh yes. I was
the new Mega
looking
Drive
at that.
game.
Did you get the Mega Drive version, or did you get it on Steam?
I just played the demo. I just played the demo that's on the website. Popped it onto my EverDrive, and so I was playing it on the original hardware, but it was just a demo version.
That's exactly what I did a few months ago now. But it's really good, isn't it?
It's really good. Yeah, it took me a while to figure out what I was doing.
Yeah.
And initially, I found that a bit frustrating, and then I thought, well, that's kind of like what games were back then anyway.
Yeah, absolutely.
I've had so many games where I was just like, I don't know what I'm doing here. This is. But eventually, I got into the swing of it, and I realised, what you were supposed to do and how you got the powers, and
it's a really nice sort of game of discovery where you're moving around and you can't quite, as you say, you can't quite figure out what to do, but then you suddenly discover it and it kind of opens up.
Yeah,
a new area, and then you kind of carry on. It's it sort of gripped me for I didn't complete the demo, but I meant to. I never get back to it, but it was I really liked I really liked what I played. Yeah.
Yeah, me too. I'm hoping to order the physical cartridge version. I know they're taking pre-orders at the moment. I can't afford it right now, but
I thought it was out already. Was it not out?
Oh yeah. The game's out. You can buy if you buy it on Steam digitally, then you get the PC version and you get the ROM file as well.
That's right. Yeah, you do. Yeah.
But they're doing a run of actual cartridges with boxes and manuals and the whole thing as well.
Okay, so they haven't been released yet. Right.
They've released the first, but they're doing it in small batches. I think they might. I assume they must be just getting the pre-orders in so they know how many to produce and then producing them on demand, kind of thing. So
I think they're quite expensive to produce. I can imagine there's not many factories around producing Mega Drive cartridges.
No, sadly. I wouldn't have thought so. No, so I think it's the cartridge version is £60, I think, which isn't too bad, for a one-off cartridge, and that's kind of in line with what cartridges were back in the day. Anyway, I think I paid £60 for Sonic 2. Yeah.
Did you?
So, I think it was about about £50 or £60 because it was the entirety of my Christmas money at the time. I think
that's mental, really, because considering that's sort of the maximum you pay for a new AAA game as soon as it comes out now, isn't it? Really?
Yeah, I mean, games are cheaper than ever now. Really, I mean, they're still expensive, but I mean, they're cheaper than they used to be, definitely. I mean, I don't want to get too off topic, but I found a website that did old magazine scans.
Yeah.
I was just looking through some old gaming magazines from around sort of 98, 99, 2000 sort of era.
I love doing that.
Yeah, it's really good.
It's really fascinating.
These little time capsules of what was going on. Yeah. And they had adverts for like Electronics Boutique, which was a big retailer at the time, and they were advertising like Lilac Wars on N64, and it was like $79.99.
Jesus Christ!
That's mental.
That is mental. I don't remember them being that expensive.
No, I don't either.
I'm sure it was like similar sort of 40 quid.
Yeah, no, it's crazy. Like GoldenEye, like $69.99. It's like what's going on? I know. I know PlayStation games weren't that expensive. I know PlayStation games were always around the 40, £45 mark, but and I knew the cartridges were a little bit more, but I didn't realise it was like that much.
No, I think they were ripping people off there. I used to get my games from Special Reserve, which to a lot of people is a mail order thing, but I was right
long gone
in
now, I'm afraid.
Long gone, yeah. But in Bristol there was a shop, wasn't there?
Yeah,
just down the road from where I lived. So I used to go down there all the time, and that's where I'd get my games from. And they were usually, but I'm sure they were, even N64 games were like 40 quid. I'm sure they were.
Yes.
Unless that was a special price, I'm not sure.
I don't know. They did advertise the cheapest prices in town, I believe. So, maybe they just had a little deal going on. I don't know.
Maybe they stole them. I don't know. Stolen goods, who knows? I'm sure they didn't, but
Well, it's a good job they're bankrupt now, isn't it? Otherwise you could get in trouble for saying that. So Tanglewood, So I was quite impressed with the whole thing, considering it's just developed by one guy.
It's amazing, isn't it? He's I think he's either a former or still current Traveller's Tales employee, I believe.
Oh, really? Okay.
Yeah, he's I think he's sort of. I was reading an interview with him. He was I think he was working on some of the Lego games, and they asked him. There was something that he needed to do. They asked him to like go really deep into like assembler code to fix something, and that's how he kind of got into coding like really kind of hardcore low level kind of stuff.
Yeah.
So, and that's kind of resulted in him making his own Mega Drive game, and it's just amazing that's coming this in 2018. A new Mega Drive game. How crazy is that?
And there's another one coming out, not by the same developer, different developers. Kung Fu UFO.
I haven't heard of that one, I don't think.
Yeah, that's being crowdfunded on Indiegogo at the moment, and that's going to have a physical cartridge release for Mega Drive.
There was a Streets of Rage style one called Paprium, but I think it might have fizzled out. The last I heard of it, it kind of gone quiet. The developers have gone quiet. I think that was Kickstarter as well, so that's a shame if you've backed that, unfortunately. I don't know. They might still be going on. That's just what I heard.
Yeah.
But that looked really interesting. They did some really special stuff with the hardware for the like the sound. I think they had like a custom chip in it to improve the sound quality of their music. which would have been really interesting if it's. I mean, it may still come to light, but
I think we might discuss this before. But I mean, that is one of the really cool things about cartridges that they had over CD-based games, is the fact that you could add custom chips and custom hardware onto the boards that, you know, can expand the capabilities of the consoles.
Yeah.
You know, that's a really cool thing that's, you know, not possible with, you know, with discs.
Yeah, it's crazy, isn't it? You know, you had what did you have? You had Sonic and Knuckles, obviously, that could expand
Sonic
itself.
Knuckles, Pokemon Pinball with a little vibration thing built into it.
There was
Boktai with the optical sensor to, you know, it worked better when you played it in daylight, and
you had Micro Machines with the extra controller.
Micro Machines with the J-Cart ports. You know, the
great stuff,
Super FX chips on the N64, Super Nintendo.
Yeah,
there's loads of, you know, amazing. Yeah, so I will probably be trying to get that. I don't know how long the pre-orders are going to last, or if there's going to be a third batch of pre-orders after this one. I just can't afford it at the moment, so I'm hoping that, you know, when I've got the money available, then, you know, it'll still be out there to purchase, because I would like to get my hands on that.
Be a great thing to own.
I missed out on another Mega Drive release a few years ago, Pier Solar.
Yeah, I've heard of that.
They did a really cool addition to the physical release where you had the cartridge, but if you had the Mega CD attachment, you had a soundtrack CD, and it would play the game from the cartridge, but stream the soundtrack from the audio CD.
Wow, that's amazing.
Yeah, and it's the only game on the Mega Drive to use that functionality. Apparently, that is capable of it, but no game ever actually utilised it. Really? It's the first one to do it. And they did like a package where you got the soundtrack CD and the cartridge and all that. But again, they you know, I missed a boat on that one. It's you know, going to be eBay scalpers to pay if I want to get my hands on that one, I think.
Yeah, that's a shame. I suppose you could recreate it, I suppose, with an EverDrive and a CD.
I think if you buy the digital version, because I'm sure they still sell the digital versions, and you can just burn a copy of the CD and put a ROM on an EverDrive and play it that way. Although I do think there's an issue, you can't play it on the EverDrive if you've got the 32X plugged in. You have to have it. You have to unplug the 32X and just plug the cartridge straight in. Something about the memory or something. I don't know. It's all complicated. But you could recreate it yourself, certainly. A couple of bits of news I think we should discuss.
Yes.
First one would be the Nintendo online service is gone live.
Have you signed up to this?
I signed up for 1 month just to give it a try.
Yeah.
I'm not impressed.
No.
Personally. Have you signed up for it?
I haven't. No. Go on then.
It's a bunch of ROMs, basically.
Exactly. It is a bunch of. It's a bunch of ROMs. I love that it's boiled down. Yeah, it's just a bunch of ROMs.
It's a bunch of ROMs.
You've signed up to a bunch of ROMs.
I'm not. I don't know what to say about it. It just seems they're really pushing this idea that you get these NES games each month, and it's like, well, okay, it's Mario Brothers. It's good. It's a good game. Cheers, I guess. I don't know why. And apparently,
well, how many have they got on then?
I don't know, 20 games to begin with. Some it's like 20 or 30 games. I mean, to be fair, it's a fair selection of games. I mean, you know, if you've never played them before or you didn't have any other way of getting them, then you know it might be worth a few quid a month.
Yeah, I mean the NES was always.
I don't really know who it's aimed at.
No, I mean the NES was always bigger in America than it was here. I think, wasn't it? So I mean, maybe some of the Americans like it a bit more.
Thing is, I think if you're into games, like seriously into games, if it's something, if you would go as far as to call yourself a gamer, you know, as a main part of your hobby in your free time, you've played Super Mario Brothers 3. You know, I think you've played it, and you've got other ways to play it at this point. You know, you don't need to have a subscription to play it. If you're a casual gamer and you've picked up a Switch and you just play it from time to time, are you really going to be that interested in sort of 30-year-old games. I don't know. Maybe you are. Maybe people are. I just don't really know who it's aimed at.
No, I think in that case it'll just be a quick thing with you just go on and say there's like a load of games here. Let's try them out, and
Yeah.
I don't know if you've never played them before, and if you're sort of quite young and you just play them, you'll be like, no disrespect to them, but I think I don't know. They probably won't hold a lot of people's attention.
No, I don't. I mean,
would you agree?
I would agree. Yeah, I would agree. I mean, I think Super Mario Brothers 3 is probably the best game of the bunch.
Yeah.
And it's still a really good game. And I think even if you'd never played it before and you picked it up and you had a go, you could put a lot of time into it. It's an entertaining game.
Yeah.
But with the new Super Mario Brothers, the new Super Mario Brothers Wii U, I don't know what they're calling it, but whatever one came out on the Wii U, they're porting that to Switch.
They are, yeah.
That's coming out. Mm-hmm. Is it going to hold your attention compared to the all the bells and whistles of the new one? I don't really know. But, I mean, Nintendo, they've even put online activation DRM onto the NES games. You have to connect to the internet once every 7 days, otherwise you lose access to the Nintendo ROMs. It's just bizarre. Yeah. I just don't know what they're thinking. I mean, no wonder they went after all the ROM sites.
Yeah, well, you could see something like this coming. Well, everyone kind of knew it was coming anyway, but yeah, they're so terrified of people playing their games for free, basically. And it's really not. It's really not worth it anymore.
If this is their answer to the Virtual Console, then I think they've really missed a trick. I don't know. I'm not going to be continuing the subscription personally.
No, I mean, you could say it's just a start. Maybe if they open up first of all, like pretty much the whole NES library and then the whole SNES library, then you're kind of looking at something much more,
Oh, absolutely. I mean, if they did
reasonable.
something akin to the Xbox Game Pass or the PlayStation Now service, where you've got a range of games from all sorts of I mean, admittedly, Game Pass I think is only Xbox One games at the moment, but I mean, you've got so many there. I mean, it's not just like here's a handful of old games. I mean, there's current stuff. There's they're constantly switching up the library. I mean, it's become a bit of a cliche to call it Netflix for games, but that it's kind of it's close to that.
Yeah.
If they had something like that with a whole range of like little chunks from Nintendo's history. That's something, but it's just.
And if you compare it to the games you get for free with, the PS Plus and the Xbox Live, whatever they call it now, you get like 2 or 3 games free a month, right? With those, I think as long as you can continue your subscription, you have access to those games. They're yours.
Well, in the case of Xbox, even if you cancel your subscription, they're yours anyway. They're yours permanently.
I thought that was the case on the 360. Is it still the case on the Xbox One?
I believe it is, yeah.
Yeah, right. Okay, well, it's not on the PS4.
It's not on the PS4.
I did that. No, I did that. I did a free trial of it, and I didn't get to keep my games.
But I mean, looking at the PS4, I think it was last month. The game they gave away was God of War 3 Remastered.
Yeah, they give away like good games, quite
seriously good,
relatively recent games as well. You know.
And much as I love Super Mario Brothers 3, as as an incentive to subscribe, it doesn't really match with God of War 3.
No, I mean, and you just when you consider that they've done so many virtual consoles on all the different consoles that they've done recently, and it's just the same stuff over and over again, isn't it? And it's like, oh yeah, rather than give you something new, something exciting, here's Super Mario Brothers 3 again.
Yeah, and look how many millions and millions they sold of the NES Classic Edition.
Yeah.
People have got these games. They bought them recently. Millions, tens of millions of people have just bought these.
Yeah.
I don't know.
Well, exactly. That's Nintendo all over. Loads of people just bought them. Let's sell them again. It's
just the whole thing. It's just a real head scratcher for me. I don't know what they're thinking of. But we'll see. I mean,
it's early days. To be fair,
early days.
So we'll see what they come of it. It could just be the start of something. I'm hoping it is. I'm hoping They said they're going to add more games, which I'm sure they will. But something other than NES would be nice as well.
Yeah. And then I suppose there is the issue, because apparently, again, I don't know if this is true for all games, but I'm under the impression that the online access is peer-to-peer. There aren't any dedicated servers. So you're paying Nintendo for what?
Yeah, exactly. So they were doing peer-to-peer this whole time.
Yeah. So if you're using your bandwidth, your connection to connect to someone else's bandwidth and connection that they're already paying for, why Nintendo getting a slice of the pie? I don't understand.
That's a really, really good point.
I don't understand.
You're basically paying them for 20 NES games.
Yeah.
Which you already have somewhere.
Which you've already got. And if you were really inclined to play them, you probably would have done at this point, and there's easier ways to do it. So I don't know. But we'll give them the benefit of the doubt. We'll give it. Yeah. We'll come back to it in a year, and we'll see how it's evolved, I suppose. The second bit of big news, I would say, talking about selling old games back to you again, would be the PlayStation Classic announced.
Yes, it would.
Thoughts on that?
I don't know. I've not really gone for any of these mini consoles so far. Just, I like them. I just, they would just sit on my shelf really. Because I quite like my pie. I like having it all in one thing,
Yeah.
And that sounds terrible. I don't want to not support them, but I don't know. I mean,
I'm not sensing a lot of excitement about it.
No, not really. I mean, I know you have a lot more fondness with PS1.
Oh, I do. Yeah.
Anyway, I'm sure it's the kind of thing that it would be right up your street. And,
I pre-ordered it the morning it was announced. I was
really okay.
Yeah, refreshing the
Really?
game.co.uk because I pre-ordered my the SNES Mini from them, and it came on release day, so they've earned my trust a little bit there. Unlike, other
I like them. I can't warrant them really because I don't have, to be honest, I don't have loads of money to spend these days on games and stuff. So I think I'd rather keep it to things that I really want that I sort of don't have. Yeah. It sounds. I don't mean to to ruin your excitement about it or anything.
I mean, it's fine. It's fine.
Yeah.
It's only.
Sorry.
It's fine.
Anyway, carry on. Go on. You excite me about it. Go on.
It's good, isn't it?
It's good.
But bunch of games,
Bunch of games, yeah.
Bunch of ROMs.
What have we got on it? What's been announced?
Well, that would be the odd thing. They haven't really announced out that much. It's got Final Fantasy VII on it, which is excellent. They couldn't not have that on there. I don't think. Yeah. Ridge Racer Type 4. Which is a brilliant game. Is a bit of an odd choice because I think it's best played with have you ever used a NEGCON controller?
No, I don't think I've ever even heard of that.
Oh no, it's not NEGCON. Namco did a couple of odd controllers. NEGCON was it sort of twisted in the middle. It was like two halves of a controller.
Oh, I know the one. Yeah, I've seen it. Yeah,
and then they did the one for Ridge Racer Type 4 was the JogCon, and it's like a controller and it's got like a big sort of wheel in the middle. And it's got like a little indentation, so you can move the wheel around with your thumb, and you can use that for analog steering. But it's got actual force feedback, so it will fight against you trying to turn the wheel around. So as you're going around the corner, it will sort of fight against you.
Yeah. I'm guessing you can't use that peripheral on the Mini.
No, the Mini's only the little controllers are USB by the look of it, and they're just the pure digital. They don't have any analog sticks or.
They're not the DualShock.
Not the DualShock. They're just the standard original ones. Yeah. So Ridge Racer Type 4 is still a really good game, but when you take away the analog control, I think and especially the force feedback control, I think you're going to lose a little bit of the experience there.
Yeah.
Wild Arms is included. I've never played it, but I've heard it's good.
What is Wild Arms?
I think it's like an action RPG type thing. I'm going to Google it now to make sure that I'm actually right, but I believe it's like an action RPG type affair. Let's have a look. Wild Arms. But yeah, I mean, it's basically just some heavy hitters. There's some notable things that haven't been announced yet. I mean, obviously, I'd expect it to have Metal Gear Solid at least, but
Yeah.
given how Konami have been in recent years, I don't know if that's going to be, feasible. Yeah, Wild Arms is a tactical RPG apparently, so yeah.
Okay.
It's one of these. I think it's quite an expensive one, which is why I've never picked it up. Let me just have a look. PlayStation Classic. Let's see what else they've got on there. PlayStation Classic. You've got to scroll. Oh, Jumping Flash. Do you ever play Jumping Flash? A little rabbit.
No, that was a very early first-person platformer. Is that right?
Yes, that's the one. Yeah. That's on there. That's quite an interesting one.
Interesting choice. Yeah.
Yeah. Tekken 3.
Yep.
And I think that's all they've announced so far.
Okay. Is it about 20 of them? Is it
20? There's going to be.
20.
Yeah.
Okay, so we've got a few more to go. Yeah.
Yeah, but I mean,
it'd be interesting to see them.
Yeah, it'll be interesting because the thing is, a lot of the key PlayStation games, like the iconic games, from a lot of third-party developers, as say Tomb Raider, I'd expect to be on there. That's something that people really associate.
That's the thing. I mean, that was the thing about Sony. They didn't really have any first-party games as such, did they? Or it was all like other companies. Is that right?
They did. I mean, they have got a few they can pick. One of them I'm not going to mention because that's going to be my pick for the game we play next time. But they've got things like Gran Turismo is a first party title, so I'd be very surprised if they haven't got Gran Turismo on there.
Yeah.
Ape Escape, which you can't. Ape Escape's a brilliant game, but they can't have that on there because it's analog control only. You can't play it with a digital controller. So they have got some good first party titles, but things like Tomb Raider, things like Metal Gear Solid, Resident Evil, all kinds of things like that. Grand Theft Auto is another one that's was a key thing in the putting the PlayStation on the map. And these are all not just third party titles, but from developers that have been sold and bought out by other people. So it's just a minefield of licensing and stuff, I'd imagine. So I really don't know what else is going to be included on there, but I think it's going to be a good package. It looks like a really neat little box, and the controllers all look quite cute, and they've replicated the original packaging for the PlayStation and stuff. So I'm on board with it. I don't quite know how I'm going to afford it, but it's between now and December, so I can crack in some overtime or something.
Yeah, cool.
But yeah,
that's good.
Okay, well, unless there's anything else you want to discuss that's happened since our last show.
I just wanted to give a little shout out. I was in Devon last week, and I happened to stumble on holiday, and it's not often when you're on holiday and you stumble upon like a lovely indie games shop.
No.
And I saw it, and it had retro stuff in there, and it had like a Mega Drive and a few retro games in there, and I thought, oh my god, this is amazing. It's just it's like my dream shop, and I was in there for like 45 minutes. And they had a it's called Item Drop, and it's in Seaton in Devon. So I just wanted to give them a shout out, because you got to support the indies.
Yeah, definitely.
So if you're in that sort of area, check them out. They had mostly sort of modernish stuff. They had a lot of merchandise, some really cool stuff, but a lot of retro as well, and sort of mid generation stuff, like the last couple of generations as well. A lot of their stuff wasn't priced. It would almost look like someone had just dropped their entire like N64 and like Mega Drive collection, because there was boxes and boxes full of them, and they hadn't been priced yet. So I was sort of sifting through some really not. Most of them were in fully boxed, the N64 games as well, which is pretty cool.
Rare, yeah.
That is rare. There's far more boxed than unboxed. Some really good condition ones as well. I ended up going away with Ocarina of Time, which I didn't have in physical form. So yeah, that was a good find. And yeah, just wanted to shout them out. Good
prices?
Yeah, pretty reasonable. Maybe a little bit more than what you would pay in, like, I don't know, CEX, for example, but I think it's worth it,
That's the thing. I mean, they're going to have bigger overheads being sort of an indie shop and stuff.
Of course they are, but it was really nice. I think it's quite good being in a sort of more of a place where you're going to catch the tourist side, because when you're on holiday, you're kind of in the mindset to spend a bit more anyway. So that you can almost negate that. So and it was a really, Seaton is a really, really sort of sleepy town. There's a lot of like, charity shops and like sort of quite a large population of older people. So it's like it was so unexpected to just stumble upon that. It seems really out of place, but I think that's good because it makes it stand out more to any young people passing by. So
that's good. I mean, if it gets your seal of approval, then
absolutely, it's really, really good. Yeah.
I mean, if anyone follows me on Twitter, or if you followed me on Twitter for any period of time, you'll know that I'm vehemently against advertising. I hate it. I hate listening to a podcast and they go, "This show's sponsored by crapmattress.com," or I hate it. So it's not a sponsorship. It's anything you mention on the show. It's like it's going to be a genuine endorsement because
exactly. We really like it. We're not been paid off.
Yeah, I absolutely just hate all that stuff. So yeah, cool. Yeah. Item drop.
They have a website where you can order online. So check them out.
Cool. Brilliant. Okay, well, shall we take a break then? And we will discuss our book club game of the pick. Of the pick? Of the pick.
Book club pick of the month.
The book club
of the episode.
Pick of the month. Power Stone.
Yeah.
It's a good one. Okay, we'll be back after this.
In the 19th century, people are strong believers of superstition and legend. Adventurers seek the world for fortune, glory, and a legendary treasure which has the power to make dreams come true. That treasure is known as the Power Stone.
And we're back, part 2 of the show, and we're going to be talking about Ollie's book club pick of the week, month, year, Power Stone.
Power Stone for the Sega Dreamcast. Yeah, it was developed and published by Capcom. It's first released in the arcade in February 99 in Japan, and then released on the Dreamcast at the same time in Japan. And I think it was a launch game in both the US and in Europe, if I'm not mistaken.
Really? Was it a launch game in Europe as well?
I think so. It says the 9th of September 99, which was about the 9th of the 9th, 99 for US, and then 14th of October for us, which I think was our release date for Dreamcast as well. And it was also re-released on the PSP in October 2006.
Yes, that was the collection with
the collection with Power Stone 1 and 2. Yeah, which is really good. That's actually the version I played. I emulated this. And I sort of ran it on the Dreamcast emulator for a bit, and I found it may just be the emulator, but the frame rate was a little bit choppy. So I tried it on the PSP version, and that was lovely because I upped the internal resolution really high. It's nice and widescreen anyway because the PSP is widescreen. It looks fabulous on the. So because this isn't a game that you can buy in the sense that you can give the developers money for it anymore, because it's not been re-released digitally as yet. You have to, and if you want to buy this, if you want to buy it, you have to buy the original. So I would recommend emulating the PSP one if you can, because it's really, really good.
Yeah, really you're right. There's no digital release of it at all at the moment, is there?
No.
That's surprising. I think we'll probably get to that, but it's surprising that it doesn't get much love from Capcom. It seems it's quite surprising.
Yeah.
So I think it's fair to say it's got quite a cult following.
It does a bit, yeah.
The fans of Power Stone, especially the ones that we've spoken to on Twitter, they seem to be extremely passionate about it. So it's got a small following, but a really enthusiastic following.
It does, yeah. It's a fighting game. First of all, I don't think we mentioned that yet.
I know. I suppose we better give a description.
If you've never heard of it, it's a fighting game, but it's not like your typical fighting game, is it?
No.
It's pretty much every other fighting game, even if it's polygonal, it's essentially 2D.
Yeah.
Right, because you've got two guys. There's a side-on view of two guys facing each other and fighting. This, there's not. I think there's a few. There's not many other fighting games like it. It's sort of. It's much more of a sort of a third person, almost like a platformer's view of a fighting game, isn't it? Really,
yeah.
a 3D
I
platformer.
can think of a couple of other games that did a similar kind of style, but certainly not as good as Power Stone. It's certainly not a common approach to a fighting game. So you've got kind of like a 3D sort of multi-tiered arena that that you fight within, and you've got free movement, sort of 360-degree movement around that arena.
Yeah, you can sort of jump around on different platforms, and you basically but you're still fighting another person. Your objective is to take their health bar. I think they've got 6 health bars, haven't they? Yeah. But they all kind of function as one. Take the health bar down and beat them basically. But there's lots of weapons that appear in sort of treasure boxes that sort of spontaneously appear in the arena, aren't there? You can get things like mallets and guns and stuff, and that's quite interesting. To have like projectile weapons in a fighting game, so you can take down a character from quite a distance. There's a bit more of a strategic element to it, I found. I mean, as someone who isn't very technical in fighting games, it's just a button masher, this gave me a chance to sort of move around the arena and to think, okay, I can sort of keep my distance and keep throwing like attacks. Like there's sort of crates around that you can sort of kick, and they'll sort of almost home in on towards the enemy usually, don't they?
Yeah.
And it kind of encourages you to sort of know your way around the arena a bit, I found, and kind of stay on your toes and be able to keep jumping around. Because the big gimmick is the Power Stones themselves.
I was going to say, the Power Stones. Is it 3 you've got to collect through?
Yeah, it's 3 kind of these coloured jewels that will appear, and once you get 3 of them, you transform into sort of a super version of yourself. Yeah. With sort of and once that happens, basically the game's over for the other person. I found that sort of playing anyway. The default settings for the health, I found as soon as someone got that kind of special ability, that was it.
Usually,
usually you can avoid it, but it's quite difficult if you're not.
You can get by with just a slither of health, but I mean, it's the scales are
quite
tipped
often
in whoever's got it.
Yeah, I actually went into the options. I'm assuming you can do this on the Dreamcast one as well. You can on the PSP. I just increased the health a bit, and then also made it just 1 round. So the 1 round lasts a lot longer, but it was a bit more exciting then because
that's interesting.
It wasn't just the first to get the Power Stones. It kind of lasted quite a lot longer. So I sort of setting up.
I did play it. I played it on the Dreamcast, but I just kept all the default options. I didn't go into. I didn't even go into the options to see if that was a possibility. So I don't know if that's something that you can do, but I imagine you can. I think
you can. I think I did that when I played it on the Dreamcast. Yeah.
But yeah, I mean, so the Power Stones will spawn throughout the arena during the course of the the match, and it becomes like a scramble of who's going to pick up the Power Stones.
You almost stop fighting and then just try and leg it towards the Power Stone.
But if your opponent picks up the Power Stone, if you land enough attacks on them, they will drop it, and then you can try and pick it up as well. So it's it just becomes, once the Power Stones are all in play, it becomes like a real scramble of who's going to get it, and you're trying to attack them, but also position yourself where you're going to get the next Power Stone. And
that's another where the projectile attacks came in handy. If you've got like a gun or something where you can just fire it at the opponent, sometimes the Power Stone will just fly right out straight into you, which is quite cool. I did that a few times.
I think it's quite interesting, like you say, with most traditional fighting games, you're on sort of a 2D plane, and it's all kind of close quarters combat, and I think it's refreshing to have sort of ranged combat in the mix as well. It really changes up how you approach playing the game and how you approach it strategically. I think it's a really, really interesting addition.
Yeah, I really liked it. It's very sort of frenetic and very I guess it's a bit like Smash Brothers in the sense that it's kind of not a super serious fighting game.
Yeah.
It's kind of that ilk, it's not like, these characters are quite cartoony, quite anime styled. there's lots of sort of very bright colours, lots of sort of kind of explosions and big kind of, I don't know, sort of cartoony effects to it, I think.
Yeah. A very distinctive art style to it as well. I love the character designs, and just the whole appearance of the game. I think it's really distinctive. You couldn't mistake it for anything else. It's really got its own sort of unique character. I think you see a screenshot of it, you see it in action, and it's unmistakably Power Stone. You couldn't confuse it with anything else. I think that's a really good thing in its favour as well.
Yeah, I think it's much more of a sort of a kind of pick up and play kind of party take on the fighting game.
Oh, definitely.
Genre, I think, isn't it?
Like you say, I mean, it was originally an arcade game, and I think it's, the fact it was designed for the arcades is really evident in how it plays.
Well, that's true of so much of the Dreamcast library, really.
Yeah.
It's a very arcadey library. It is. As a sort of a launch title, it makes perfect sense for the console, really, because it's full of games that are just great fun to pick up and play. I mean, it's like you say, it's one of those games. You can play it on your own. I mean, we played it just against a computer, but I think it's one of those games that would really come into its own when you've got a bunch of mates round. Oh, definitely. And I think the first one's only 2-player, but the second one is 4-player.
The second one is 4-player, I believe.
And that must be completely mental.
That must be It just must be great fun. I could just imagine it being absolutely crazy.
I do want to touch on the second one in a minute. We'll finish up on the first one first, but the second one's really good as well. I'm just trying to think of what else. I mean, it's we were saying in the break. It's kind of like it's not like the last couple of games that we've played where you would kind of spend a lot of time sort of really engrossed. It's not like it is very arcadey. It's very kind of. It's literally just got one mode, really, and that's just like fight a series of characters. Yeah. There's a couple of bosses at the end that you don't play as, and even the last boss, I didn't play it myself. I saw it on YouTube. It's almost more of a sort of platform games boss, really, where he's not moving, you're kind of going around him and avoiding his attacks and stuff, which is quite interesting. But it's literally just that, and you've got like I think it's 8 different characters to play as. Yeah. They don't have as many individual moves, I would say. Not that I noticed anyway, really. They do vary in their special moves and stuff, but and they kind of have different stats, like some of them will be quicker, some of them better at jumping, that kind of thing. But I played several different characters. I didn't notice a huge amount of difference between them. Did you find?
They all handle fairly similarly, from what I've found. I mean, say you take something like Street Fighter 2. All the characters there handle very differently. They feel differently weighted. Every character has its own individual handling. That I'm not saying that Power Stone doesn't, but I think it's more subtle. It's not as noticeable. I think they all handle fairly similarly.
Yeah, I mean, it's not really a mark against it.
Oh no,
I think
not at all.
It is great fun. It's just one of those games that there's not a lot of depth to it, no, but it's you can just dive right in. You know what you're doing.
That's the thing. I mean, again, we were having a quick chat in the break, and I think we needed to start recording anyway because we'd end up talking about it too much in the break and not getting a bit on tape. But I hesitate to use the word shallow because I think it's got a negative connotation to it. I don't think it's a particularly deep game. I think if you were to pick up and play it for half an hour, you're going to get a feel for what the game is. I don't think there's a great deal of depth there, but I don't want that to be. I'm not saying that's a negative because if you think of, say, another arcade fighter like Tekken, like Tekken 1 and 2 and to an extent 3, they weren't particularly deep games either. You pick it up, you play, you pick a character, you fight another character, and that's it. You become proficient at your favorite character. But I mean, there's not like a huge. There is a story, but it's never the reason you're playing.
No.
No. There's not sort of lots of narrative to get stuck into. There's not different all alternate modes and play styles and things like that. I think I'm worried I'm going to cop some heat for this, but I just think it's simple. But I'm not saying that as a negative. I think that's in its favour, because I think if you for a good arcade game, you want to be able to just pick it up and play it with people who've never played it before. You just want to be able to hand them a controller and everyone have fun with it without having to worry about, learning all the special moves and learning all the mechanics of the game. You just want to be able to have fun with it, and I think that's it's simple in that sense, and that I want to make it clear that's a point in its favour. But
absolutely, I mean. As I mentioned earlier, I love a button masher, and I like a nice, simple fighting game. I've never been one. I don't think I've ever been able to learn like the moves of a character in any fighting game. Really, to be honest, it's just too hard. I can't do it. I don't have the right brain for it. But and it's refreshing that this game doesn't sort of force you into that in any way. Really, as far as I could tell, anyway. I mean, there's you when you turn into Super, you get a couple of different kind of moves. When you do that, you get a little bar that determines how long you stay in your super form for, and there's a couple of different moves that you can utilize, and one of them is a really kind of big explosive move that basically sucks up the whole thing, whereas there's other ones that chip away at it more slowly and don't do quite as much damage, and you can sort of choose your strategy there, I guess. But yeah, other than that, it's just a really fun fighting game. That's all there is to it, really. I mean,
I'd agree.
Should we go through some of the characters?
Yeah,
I've got a few notes here. The plot it's fairly thin. I'm going to read it straight off Wikipedia. So, set in the 19th century, strong believers of legends, myths, and superstitions search for fame, fortune, and glory. One legend above all is sought after by many, a treasure which can make any dream come true. Believers from all over the world set out to search for this treasure and are forced to fight against one another in pursuit of the legendary Power Stone. So that's pretty much it, really. That's kind of like a load of different fighters are fighting over a gem,
As good a story as you need, isn't it?
Yeah. So it does have like a nice, quite a sort of adventure kind of aesthetic to it, doesn't it? If you look at the sort of the menus, they got like nice map.
Oh yeah,
screens.
It's like I say, I love the art style and I love the whole aesthetic they've got going on with it. It's really, really nice.
Yeah, you've got the main sort of the default character called Edward Falcon, who. Do you know what his Japanese name is?
Fokker.
Yes, Fokker. In the Japanese version, he's called Fokker, which is named after the plane he flies, apparently. But he's British, which I found quite unusual. To have the main character in a fighting game as the British character.
I suppose, yeah.
It's usually like a Japanese character, isn't it?
Yeah, that's true. Yeah, well, an American character, yeah.
Yeah, sort of a sort of very generic one. I mean, he kind of looks fairly he's a pilot. He's dressed in pilot uniform. It's not really that generic, is he? So he's quite cool. He's transformed into sort of an Iron Man kind of style robot, doesn't he?
Yeah.
He's quite cool. You got Wang Tang, who's
that's who I played as most as.
Okay, yeah, he was quite good. He's an aspiring chef and martial artist. He did have an annoying trait where he said "lucky" every time he gets an item, which is quite grating. Yeah. Ryoma, which one was that? Master Swordsman. Oh, he's the sort of samurai guy. Yeah. So he's a samurai. Ayame, it's a sort of Kunoichi. That's a female ninja, I believe. So she's like the sort of the token ninja female character. She doesn't look much like a ninja, but she's like a Japanese kind of girl. You got Rouge, who's kind of a fortune teller, kind of a gypsy, I think. Jack. Jack is an interesting character. He's the kind of the creepy green guy who's got like a half wrapped face.
Yeah, we were speaking about Soul Calibur earlier.
Yeah,
he reminds me of Voldo.
Yeah. Yes, me too, exactly.
Like his movements and his animation is very Voldo-like.
He's very weird, a weird character. He kind of crawls around the arena, doesn't he? Very, very quickly. He's very odd. Yeah, this says he's likely to be a reference to Jack the Ripper.
Oh, okay.
So he comes from a place, Manchester, reference to Manchester. So another potentially British character. That's interesting. Yeah. And he transformed into a mad clown, apparently. Gunrock, he's the big guy, wasn't he?
I like Gunrock. Yeah, the big round guy.
He transforms into basically the Thing from Fantastic Four.
Yeah.
Yeah. And Galuda, who is... Oh, he's the Native American guy. Mm. He's turned into sort of a wooden kind of person. And then you've got the bosses. You've got Kraken, who's a pirate. Did you get that far?
I didn't know.
Okay.
I didn't get that far on account of me being crap at the game. To be honest, I'm not going to shoot.
I was quite bad at the game. Yeah, I did use a couple of save states. Not too many though. I've managed to sort of persevere and keep cracking on. But it's quite tough. It's a tough game.
It is. Yeah.
It kind of keeps chopping away at you, but it didn't make me want to give up. It made me want to just keep going at it because it's great fun. But yeah, he's kind of a pirate dude. You fight him on a pirate ship. That was quite cool. He transforms into like a ghost pirate, and then at the end you've got a character called Volgas who then transforms into Final Volgas. So he's like the final boss. Mm. So yeah, it's quite a sort of mix of characters. Some of the usual sort of stereotypes, I guess, that you kind of get in a lot of these fighting games. But I quite like that.
Yeah.
In a way, it's quite nice. Gives a bit of variety.
Power Stone 2.
Power Stone 2, yeah. I had a little play this. I really enjoyed Power Stone 2.
I've got it on my shelf. I've played it a couple of times, but I never put as much time into it as I did Power Stone 1. Back because I bought the 2 as a set.
Oh right.
So I haven't played. I didn't replay it for this show. I only played the Power Stone 1. So
I'd recommend giving it a try because it's really good. The arenas are much more interesting. They sort of change over time. Okay. So you'll be in an arena. It's kind of like it looks like a sort of Japanese kind of lake kind of thing, and then suddenly everything starts setting on fire. And the fire starts chasing you. You have to kind of climb up these platforms while still fighting. And then you kind of go into another area. And then there's another one where you're sort of in the sky on these airships and suddenly they start plummeting to the ground and you're sort of free falling. And then you land on like these, sort of floating ruins and stuff. So these arenas keep changing.
See, with 4 players as well, that's going to be quite hectic.
Exactly. That's mental because keep getting caught by these things, the sort of the environment that kind of damages you as well. So you've got to really stay on your toes. And that was really, really good fun. There was like a sort of almost a platformy kind of boss as well, and that's as far as I got. It's this sort of big Sphinx character that you have to sort of strike the legs at to try and get to the head and that kind of thing. So really, I want to play some more of that actually because that was a really, really good game. It seemed to be anyway.
Yeah.
It's got everything the first one has, but just expands on it, which is what a good sequel should do.
Well, I think we did a poll on Twitter on our Twitter page.
We did.
Asking what people's favourite game in the series was, and I think Power Stone 2 came out the clear winner on that one, didn't it?
It did, yeah.
So, there does seem to be a definite preference for Power Stone 2. So, I mean, I wouldn't be against covering that in a future episode, to be honest. Put a bit more time into it and, polish up my skills on Power Stone 1, because as I said, I'm really atrocious at it. So, I'm sure... God,
the game does kind of take pleasure in beating you up. But as I say, it's one that you kind of want to persevere at and get better, I think. Yeah. Especially if you do what I said earlier and just turn that health bar up. That would be my pro tip for the game, because that's and just set it down to 1 round as well. Because quite often in fighting games, that 2 round thing is quite frustrating. Like you fight your heart out to get that 1 round victory, and you're like yes, and then the opponent like creams you 2 in a row, and then you got to do it all over again. It's not, just with 1 makes it a bit more simple.
Yeah. I was like you say, it really does like to beat you up. I remember thinking as I was playing it, I'm really glad that this is a podcast and not a YouTube channel or a Twitch channel. Because it would just be humiliating to see my performance on that. So yeah. So it sounds like you mentioned at the beginning of the segment, probably the best option to go for if you want to dip your toes into Power Stone would be to go for the PSP collection, probably.
It's a really good collection.
The 2 games.
Yeah, I do own that as well, and I have played it on the PSP plugged into my TV. it is good. But if you can emulate it, it's even better because it just bumps that resolution up really, really. It's like basically if they were to release an HD version for modern consoles, it's exactly what it would look like.
And that's one thing I did want to cover before we wrap up. And why has it been abandoned?
I don't know.
I really don't know because it's
known as a popular Dreamcast game of the Dreamcast library. It's sort of up there in the sort of.
And they obviously dabbled with the idea of bringing it back for them to give it a PSP release.
And also, did you know that it has an anime series attached to it as well?
I did know that, but I only learned that today. When I was doing
it's
the last
weird,
bit of
isn't
research for the show. So yeah,
it's funny. It was obviously popular enough to commission an entire 26 episode at least, I think, anime series about all the characters and everything. Just based on 2 games. You know, so it had something going for it. I think now, it could really do well on like the Switch. It's a great pick up and play game.
The Switch would be an ideal platform for it.
If you're on the train or the bus, a quick round, it'd be perfect.
Yeah.
It's a great game for that.
Well,
really good.
You 4 Joy-Cons. Little portable
brilliant
console. Take it around your friends. You're sorted. I mean, that's.
I can imagine it's a fantastic multiplayer game. It really is, and that would work wonders on the Switch.
Yeah, I really don't know why. I mean, it just seems like one of those games that's begging for a re-release. Either a HD release on modern consoles or a full blown sequel. It just seems to be stagnating, and having revisited it, I did think maybe it's just not as good as I remember. Maybe it's just a bit, but it's not. It's a really good game.
It's great. Yeah.
It's
really
just
good.
a mystery why it's just been abandoned.
Well,
get
that's
on it,
2.
Capcom.
That's 2 for your list. You've got Ghost Trick and you've got Power Stone to do more with.
I tell you, give me a Ghost Trick release on the Switch, a nice HD. Oh God, I love it.
That'd be amazing.
Yeah.
Anyway, so I think we'd recommend this game.
Oh, I think so. Yeah, definitely.
Yeah, excellent.
Definitely, okay. And like I say, the fan base that we've interacted with on Twitter, kept sort of canvassing opinions for the show, and again, people's thoughts and opinions on it. It's got a really passionate fan base behind it. So
yeah, it does definitely.
Yeah. So hopefully Capcom will listen, and like I say, give us I'll buy a package of it on the Switch. And,
me too.
Power Stone 3, I think it would be an obvious seller. It's going to go. So we're going to choose another game for the next month.
Yes, it's your turn. And I was going to say, the last 2 times you've picked them, you've revealed what the system is before you tell me what it is. And I was going to say this time I have no idea what you're going to say, but you've already spoiled that by saying it's going to be a PlayStation game in this episode. So I can't say that anymore.
Oh yeah.
But I have no idea what it is. So, go on.
Well, let me tell you first. It's a PlayStation game.
Yeah, I got that.
It's going to be Medieval.
Oh, cool. Okay. Nice.
Have you played it? Have you had any experience with it?
No, it's kind of looks like a claymation game, is it? It looks like it's made out of claymation. Am I thinking of that, or am I thinking of something completely different?
No, you are thinking it's not claymation, but it does have a very sort of Tim Burton Nightmare Before Christmas kind of sort of aesthetic to it.
What kind of game is it?
Platformer, sort of action platformer.
Okay. Cool. Yeah, I don't know a lot about it. I know. I think I'm visualizing the character as kind of a skull. Is that the right guy?
That's the one. Yeah.
A skull. Yeah.
Sir Daniel Fortescue.
Okay, that's literally all I know about the game. So that sounds really cool.
Apparently, I mean, Sony have not mentioned anything about it since they announced it, but it's going to be getting a 4K HD remaster on PlayStation 4. But they announced that a while ago, and then it's all gone quiet, and nothing's been talked about it since. So I don't know if it's been quietly dropped or if it's still on the cards. But either way, I think it's a good time to have a look back at it and revisit it. And it's one of the games I would love to see on the PlayStation Classic. So I think that'll be my pick of the month, and we'll have a chat and see. It's quite a long game. So I would.
Okay, all right.
But I
joking.
I wouldn't worry about, let's not push ourselves to play it to completion.
That's fine. That's fine.
Because it's a bit of a mammoth game.
Sure.
But yeah, you play a few
That's
levels.
absolutely fine.
If you'll play enough to see some of the sort of set piece levels and some of the key events of the game. So yeah, I think we'll have a good time.
I'm looking forward to it. Excellent.
Brilliant. Okay, so let's wrap it for now then.
Yep.
As always, if you follow us on Twitter at Pod'emUp, and you can send us emails at podemup@gmail.com.
That's the one.
That's the one. Don't send me any hate mail for saying Power Stone was shallow, because it was good. It was a good shallow.
Yeah.
It was a good shallow.
Yeah. It's a good type of shallow. It's fine.
Like a paddling pool. It's lovely.
Yeah. Yeah. Sometimes you want a paddling pool. Sometimes you want a big deep ocean.
Exactly.
We're not judging.
No. But yeah, so yeah, please do send us your opinions on anything we've covered on the show so far, and if you've got any thoughts on Medieval, please let us know as well. And we will be back again. Our usual schedule seems to be about once a month, so barring anything cropping up in between now and then, we'll see you then.
Okay, bye guys.
Bye.